In this video, I'm looking at the Malevolent Masks Rivals Deck. Hello AOS fans, Robin here, and I'm on my own. I'm going to start off by wishing you a merry festive season. It is currently the 22nd of December, and today I've got receipt of the Malevolent Masks Rivals Deck. It's not in here anymore. The Malevolent Masks Rivals Deck, it arrived today. The embargo date is tomorrow, so I'm doing a really quick video just to show you what's in there and have a little discussion about it. Pete unfortunately couldn't join me. He was meant to be joining me this evening, but unfortunately his family are unwell, so he can't come. So this is going to be possibly our last video of the year. So happy Christmas to you if you celebrate, and happy New Year when that comes round. We've got some exciting Underworlds coming up. We've got new tournaments in the new year. Pete and I think, are hopefully going to a tournament at the very beginning of the new year up in London. And we've now got a new warband and a new Rivals deck to play with. So without further ado, let's have a little look at the Malevolent Masks. First thing to notice is that there is no plot card. So you can use this with impunity in Championship. Not that Pete and I ever play Championship, but there's no shenanigans around the plot. The second thing to put to bed maybe is this going to end up serving the Voltron meta? Can you going to be able to pile mask upon mask upon mask? And the answer, probably somewhat sensibly and somewhat thematically, is no. Each mask you place will break any previous mask, and one of the masks breaks all the upgrades and doesn't let you put any more upgrades on a fighter at all. The deck itself, it feels a little bit flexible to me. I think probably the Arena are going to really like it, which is kind of thematic because they do wear masks. I'm not sure who else at the moment would be good for. It's got some handy kind of combat boosts, but it's got a bit of objective holding in it as well. So it is a proper flexible Rivals deck, I think. Particularly its end phase objectives, they seem to be quite sort of flex, a kind of little bit of positioning, a little bit of combat, a little bit of objective. We'll come on to those. I'm going to go through the upgrades first, show you the masks, and then we'll have a look at the gambits and ploys, and then we'll go through and have a look at the objectives. Okay, then let's start with Envy Shroud, which is a +1 wound, and this is the card that breaks all the other upgrades. So you basically break the guys, and you can't put any other upgrades on, so it's literally just going to give you +1 wound to a fighter, which is sort of interesting. I don't think it's that strong. I'm sure there are uses for it, but I don't think it's that strong. Next mask is Vits Eye, which is an action. Now, a lot of these have actions. So this has an action. This fighter makes the following attack action. It's a 3-range attack, 2 hammers and 1 damage with Grievous and Cleave. Could be pretty useful. Now notice, you do make an attack action, but you're actually using an action on it. And that is significant for some of the other cards that will come up in a minute. The Howling Hood. When a fighter has 2 mask upgrades, break one. So you see, I should have said that for the last one, but they break each other, with the first one breaking everything. The Abyssal Howl, choose a fighter adjacent to this fighter, push the chosen fighter up to 2 actions. And again, it's an action. The Abyssal Howl is an action, but you can push a fighter up to 2 hexes and then stagger the chosen fighter. The Frostbitten Veil. When a fighter, the Frostbitten Veil, power surge action. You can reroll each dice in this fighter's attack rolls until the end of the round. So you're looking at maybe setting it up at the start, but you've got to be careful. You can get to the end of the round, but how many attacks are you going to get off? Do you just want to take an action while you're standing there? I'm not sure. The Eternal Smile, which comes with the Victors of Carnage action, which gives +1 damage to this fighter's range 1 and range 2 attack actions other than scything attack actions until the end of the round. So again, you've got to set it up. So all of these kind of need to be set up. This one slightly less so, which is the Echo Guise, which has Reverberating Call. Pick 2 feature tokens, one of which the fighter is on. Place each feature token in the hex the other feature token was in when you place them. Makes double support successes in your defense rolls until the end of the round. So that's all the masks. Like I say, they mostly need actions, which is sort of interesting. Got a few more left. Menacing Posture. After this fighter's action that pushes one or more enemy fighters, push this fighter 1 hex towards those fighters. So you could be using that to get on objectives, or you could be using that to maybe follow up onto something. I'm not quite sure, but it's got to be an action that pushes somebody. Displacing Figurine. Pick an objective in an empty hex. Place this fighter on the objective you picked. Give this fighter 1 charge token, then break this card. I think that's a really nice card, and I can see that lots of use in a hold objective deck. Dark Humour. I like the idea of this card. So you can re-roll defense. You can re-roll 1 defense dice in this fighter's defense rolls. If you have a mask, you can also make the following reaction, which is a mocking laugh. Use this after an attack action that targeted the fighter. If this fighter's defense roll contains 1 or more successes, push the attacker 1 hex. So you can basically laugh and make them run away. And the last one is a kind of weakened card to put you on guard. It's -1 defense to a minimum of 1. Rolls of shields and dodges are successes in this fighter's defense roll. So, maybe you might use it if you got some 1 dodge defenses. I'm not sure that card will see much play outside of Rivals format, if I'm honest. The ploys then, because there are all ploys, there's no spells. You've got Scrabble in the Dirt. Pick a gambit with the Malevolent Mask symbol in your power discard pile. Add that card to your hand, then discard 1 power card. So it's kind of interesting. You can basically use this to get mask cards out of your discard pile, which we don't see very often, and you can see why it's going to be useful in a moment. So we have Taking Over. Choose a friendly fighter with a mask upgrade that has an action on the mask upgrade, which is most of them. The chosen fighter makes the action. So basically you can set up your extra dice or your extra damage or whatever onto here. So it's quite useful for that. It's basically a free use of it, and then you can maybe pull it out again and then use it again later in the game or on a different mask. So that's the combo you're looking for with that. We've got Maskborn, another interesting card. Choose a friendly fighter with a mask upgrade that is out of action. Place the chosen fighter on a starting hex in your territory. The chosen fighter then makes 1 action. After the following surge step, the chosen fighter is taken out of action. When the chosen fighter is taken out of action, you don't get any bounty, so there's no risk to it really. But if you can bring a fighter on a starting hex, then you might be able to get an attack off. Now, Pete and I have been debating behind the scenes whether you can use this on a charge. My initial reaction was no, you can't charge these as 2 actions, even though they are a super action. You're going to move and then attack, so that's 2 actions, so you can't do it. But the definition of a super action in the rulebook is that it is an action made up of 2 or more actions. So it's not really very clear. On the one hand, a charge is 2 actions. On the other hand, a super action is only an action. So I'm not sure. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. My feeling is the way this is tend to be worded, you wouldn't be able to use it with a charge, but I think it will probably need an FAQ. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm being daft. Revealed Aspect. Pick 1. You can draw a power card, always good. Or choose a friendly fighter, including fighters who are out of action, with 1 or more upgrades. Add 1 of the upgrades to your hand, then give the chosen fighter 1 upgrade from your hand or power discard pile. Do not spend any glory points when you do so. So there's a number of options here. You could actually use it to put a mask on somebody and then use them to bring them back using Maskborn, or you can just basically get the mask you want or the upgrade you want back out of a dead fighter. So that is pretty useful. Unveiled Ambitions. Search your power deck for a mask upgrade, reveal that card and add it to your hand, and then shuffle any remaining cards in your power deck. Hooded Rush. Choose a friendly fighter with 1 or more upgrades, push the chosen fighter 1 hex. If it's a mask, you can push them up to 2 hexes. It's always good to have push tech in your deck. Unexpected Arrival. Choose 2 friendly fighters with mask upgrades, place each fighter in the hex that was occupied by the other fighter when you chose them. These cards always feel like they're really good, but I don't think they've ever really seen a lot of play over the history of the game. So I don't know how strong that one is. It sounds cool. I don't know how strong it is. And Shuddering Violence. Choose a friendly fighter, stagger them, +1 dice to their range 1 or 2 attack actions made by the chosen fighter in the next activation. So a definite bonus there, but also a negative with it. If they have a mask, you can also re-roll the attack dice as well, which could be pretty useful, although you then do have the problem of being staggered. Possessive Crouch. Choose a friendly fighter, give the chosen fighter a guard token. If they have a mask, you stagger each fighter adjacent to the chosen fighter. Could be good, pretty situational, but it's quite nice to get some guard. Again, I'm not sure how much play that would see out of Rivals. And the final card is an interesting one, and again, I don't know how useful it would actually be. You can heal each fighter with a mask upgrade. You have to deal 1 damage to each other friendly fighter. Could be really good if you've got all your masks out and everybody's got a mask. Could be useful. So now we'll look at the objectives, and we'll look at the surges first. They break down 2 that are objective orientated, 3 that are combat orientated, and there's 1 basically you get for just getting a mask on somebody. So we've got Vision of Success. It's a surge hybrid. Score this immediately after an activation if a friendly fighter with a mask upgrade holds an objective with an even value, or your warband holds 3 or more objectives, one of which is in no one's and or enemy territory. I feel like you're going to be trying to do that on the first predication. Similar card is Audacious Asset. It's basically another hybrid, and it's if you're holding with a mask or an odd value objective. And again, it's only if you're holding 2 or more objectives, each of which is in no one or enemy territory. So slightly different on the second predication for the objective, but I do feel like you're going to be trying to get in friendly fighters with masks onto objectives, maybe swapping them over with some of those ploys that are in the deck. Death's Visage. Score this immediately after a friendly fighter with a mask upgrade takes an enemy out of action. So, or your warband's 3rd or subsequent successful attack action in this phase. Again, probably feels like you're going to be doing it on the first 3 successful attack actions in a phase. Maybe, probably good with the arena and rolling lots of attacks and things, but it's quite nice. But you've got to be hitting things. Slaughter Satisfied, another combat-orientated card, funnily enough. Score this immediately after an activation step if there are more enemy fighters out of action than there are surviving enemy fighters. Very warband dependent, that one. Feast of Violence. Dual card. Score this immediately after a friendly fighter's attack action if that was the 3rd or subsequent range 1 or range 2 attack action made by a friendly fighter in the same phase, and each of those attack actions was made in a different activation step. So not so good for the arena, this one, because they can't use their combos to get it off, but still fairly easy for a warband that's going to be attacking. Domino Dominance. This is not about pizza monopoly. This is score this immediately after a power step if 1 or more surviving Inspire friendly fighters has a mask upgrade. So this is going to be slightly warband dependent, depending on how easy your warband is to inspire, but you've just got to get a mask onto one of the fighters who is inspired. So we only have the end phase objectives left now. I think that basically one of these is objective focus and the others are all fairly flexible. Don't worry about too much on kills. So you've got Stoic Appearance. Score this in end phase if 1 or more friendly fighters with a mask upgrade are holding an objective. Hooded Stranger. Score this in end phase if 1 or more friendly fighters with a mask upgrade are in enemy territory. When you score this objective, there are no enemy fighters adjacent to 1 or more of those friendly fighters. Gain 1 additional glory point. So that could be quite easy to get to if you're going last in the round. You could just zoom in with a masked fighter and score a couple of glory. So, could be good. Totally Overpowered. Score this in end phase if your warband holds 2 or more objectives and more than half the fighters in 1 or more enemy warbands are out of action and or have more wound count. So that's not that easy to score any which way, really. You've got to be on objectives, but you've also got to kill quite a lot of people. I think that's quite tough. Very matchup dependent and which warband you're choosing to play. Solid Spread. Score this in end phase if there are 1 or more friendly fighters in your territory, no one's territory, and enemy territory. So I'm not a fan of this type of card, but again, it's positional and you can score it without having to rely on the dice, unlike the previous Totally Overpowered, which definitely means you have to kill some people. And the final card in the deck is a 3 glory score. It is Completed Pact. You've got all your suitcases filled. Score this in an end phase if there are more surviving friendly fighters with mask upgrades than there are surviving enemy fighters. Now, there are 6 masks in the deck. Could be doable, but you've got to keep your fighters alive. Quite tricky. 3 glory. I don't think I'd be playing that in Nemesis. But in Rivals, obviously, you haven't got any choice, and it is scoreable, but it is very matchup dependent. And I suppose you would say you would probably do need to do some combat with that one. But I think the objectives are quite flexible. There's nothing there that relies relentlessly on killing, with the possible exception of Totally Overpowered. So there you go. I'm going to cut back to a little farewell. I hope you found that useful. Do let me know in the comments what you think of the deck. So I hope you found that useful. Let me know what you think of the Malevolent Masks and whether you're going to play it. We're definitely going to play it, and I'm looking forward to trying it out, actually. I think it could be quite good for some older warbands, perhaps, could kind of supplement those ones that perhaps have got a bit of martial prowess, but need a bit of lifting up a little bit to compete with the modern meta. Obviously, the modern warbands are likely to drive it better anyway, but let me know what you think it would be good with, and we'll see you soon in 2024. Bye!